What's up, guys? This is Mitchell Sheppard with Sheppard Knife and Tool. So this is my belt sander. I'm going to talk about how I got here, why you would want to go here, and what your options are as a newbie. Yeah, 1x30, pretty much the standard option for a complete noob knife maker. Here's the thing. If you really like knives, and you have like knife designs in your head, you can skip this step. Or I wouldn't start with a 1x30 if you're that guy. If you're that guy, I would start with a 2x42 from Craftsman. That's probably the best small belt sander option. You get the width of a 2x72. You get the larger belt that a 2x72 offers, although not as big. It's only 42 inches. And you get a disc sander, which is useful, and a motor that won't stall as easily as compared to a 1x30. The 1x30 is not a terrible option. It's just not a great option. If you like really think that you're gonna like making knives, you'll probably enjoy it, and you probably don't need to start on a 1x30 in order to make sure that you'll like it. You can start on a 2x42. It's only about 3 times the cost. It's only about $140, which, worst case, sell it on eBay. They're fairly easy to get rid of. But yeah, this thing, 1x30, it's an option. I have an $80 one, but you can buy a $40 one from Harbor Freight. You won't get the disc sander, but it's the same machine. You can also use an angle grinder with an abrasive disc. I just use a ceramic abrasive disc because they last forever, and I'm wicked cheap. You get a really nice flat area after a very short while of grinding, and that makes it way easier to implement your grinds. And if you use that and like a double bastard file and a single cut mill file, you can get really nice grinds. A lot of the knives I'm grinding on this thing, finishing on this thing, were actually rough ground with this method, and like, I'm converting them to a hollow grind, and it's wicked easy. I actually flat ground one of those, and it worked really well too. So that's another option. It's actually about the same cost tool wise as this thing, but it'll come with an abrasive disc that lasts forever. This is the one that came with this thing. It's not even made for metal, but I've ground like 5 knives on this. I wouldn't replace it for another maybe 2 or 3 knives. These are $5 versus you paying $5 for 3 belts. Yeah, it's a really competitive option. You have to make sure you're really stable with it. It doesn't really train you for jumping to a belt sander, but honestly, these things are so easy to use. It's just a wonder. I haven't actually tried using like an actual abrasive disc grinder, which is basically like a souped up version of this asshole. I should stop swearing, but yeah, I swear like a sailor sometimes, so I guess you just have to deal with it. But yeah, I haven't tried using a abrasive disc grinder, which honestly I'm tempted to buy one because they start at like $100, so it's not that bad. But I'm tempted to buy one just so that way I can see how well it works as a knife grinder, which is really bad of me, because I'll probably think it's terrible. But it'd be nice to see, Yeah, like I ran the numbers, and using this method, the Walt method, some files, you can make a knife, like actually finish a knife for about $100, maybe 150, and like start to finish, buy all your tools to finish a knife, about $150, which is really, really, really sweet if you're just that guy who wants to make a knife to go out in the woods and bushcraft with. Like your finish won't necessarily be as nice, but actually, it's really hard to get nice, even grinds with this thing. I found it fairly easy to get nice, even grinds with the angle grinder and then file method. But that's just me. Other tools. Oh, right. Moving from this onto your next step. Make your next step a 2x72 and make it a variable speed. So I'm advising against going with the Grizzly. This thing is awesome. This thing, Grizzlies sell for about $600. For maybe $150 more, you can get a belt sander that has variable speed and tool attachments. It's really awesome. Like I can put on a small wheel attachment. I can put on a small wheel attachment if I want to. I can put on a flat platen, or I can put on a contact wheel. Really easy to do that. The Polar Bear grinder in a box, the Polar Bear Forge grinder in a box build is about the same price too. You don't have to drill any of these annoying holes. I don't know why I went with this build instead of the Polar Bear Forge one. I was really stupid 3 months ago, which guarantees that I'm really stupid now, which is really annoying to know, but really nice to know at the same time. But granted, taking my stupid opinion into account, the Polar Bear Forge grinder in a box is probably your best build. All you basically have to do is tap holes and then, buy some screws and screw it together. Doesn't take as many screws as this thing. All you have to do is buy your contact wheels and throw them on. It's pretty sweet. This thing was a pain in the butt to build. Wrangling a 4-inch steel tubing on this drill press is nightmare. It's so bad. But yeah, not fun. I suggest going with the 2x72. I suggest building your own. But then again, you can not build your own and do really well. If you really, really want like a really nice belt sander, don't build your own. But if you want to get one 2x72 for the cheap, you got to build it. If you want to step up from you're building your own belt sander, right? Like, you've done this method, but you have a bunch more money and you can actually invest. Fear grinders are really nice. I hear great things about them. It's like $950 or maybe $975 for a 2x72 with a flat platen and a variable speed grinder and a variable speed motor. I think that might come with a contact wheel included, but I'm not sure. Either way, that's a great deal for a variable speed motor, right? Like no tinkering with belts or pulley systems, shenanigans like that. Like it can go from 0 to 3,000. That's awesome. For $900, that's an incredible deal. But that being said, this is also a really nice option. Pretty sweet. I can definitely put out a lot more work and a lot nicer work since I moved to it. And if you're skeptical of that, like, here's one thing, right? Like, this is a more powerful motor. So I can just grind the hell out of things. But in terms of precision, since I fixed this thing, because it decided to break, and I had to fix it, remount my motor and my bearings, and by the way, I decided to lazy out instead of taking this whole thing apart, which is a nightmare. And I just C-clamped these down, and that's that. And then I put some L brackets around my motor to hold it in place. Really easy. Seems to work really nice. And oh my god, it's so much quieter now. Listen to this. See how nice that is? It's just sexy. So yeah, 2x72. But yeah, this has twice the surface area for your knife to go against that this does. Twice the surface area. That means you have twice the stability when you're holding your knife and grinding it. It also means you have twice the belt life of a 1x72, which has over twice the belt life, which has about 2.5 times the belt life as a 1x30. So what is that? That's 5 times the belt life. That's freaking awesome. I have 3 speeds. So when I'm grinding at 220 grit, my belt isn't gonna last just 4 seconds. It'll last, way longer, which turns out not to be very long, because I don't buy ceramic belts because I am very cheap. And I've run the numbers on it and the trash, and I think buying ceramic belts is the best way to go. Even if they only last twice as long as AO belts, that means you have to deal with half as much trash. It'll cost you the same amount, but half as much trash. And that first, you'll just better work. So I'll get ceramic belts in the future. But yeah, 2x72s are just colossally better. I can also do a small wheel attachment, so I can do finger choils easily. I can do a flat platen and this, so I can do hollow grinds and flat grinds. I could even do a slack belt attachment if I wanted to do convex grinds. And I know Gavco says that slack belting it produces a bad grind, but here's the thing. When you're building your own belt sander, you can space the wheels on that slack platen, on that slack belt attachment, so that way you get a stiffer, you get less curve when you push against it. That means that you can get a convex grinding attachment without having to mess around with leather on your flat platen, or using a Scotch-Brite belt like Tough Thumbs does. You can just throw on an attachment. But yeah, that was my little rant about belt sanders. Get a nice belt sander. Once you realize you want to make knives, get a nice belt sander. Right off the bat. It's the best investment you can make. You can just put out way better work. And better work equals happier you. Less frustration. And you want to hit things with hammers less. Which is why I stopped using this, because I hate wanting to hit things with hammers. But yeah, Mitchell Sheppard. Follow me on Instagram, msheppardkt. Subscribe on YouTube. Well, I keep doing that. Subscribe on YouTube. Sheppard Knife and Tool. I'm on Gear Bastion. Data.gearbastion.com. I'm Sheppard Knife and Tool on there. Follow me.